Well, right out to my favorite coffee shop. It's so nice to finally get out and do some riding. This cold weather was making me depressed. I hate cold weather. It doesn't let me do a lot of things, and so it's kind of nice to be able to finally get out, ride this bike, because I sure do love this bike. It's a lot of fun to ride. It's fast, very comfortable, good mileage. But I just had to get out and do some riding today. And finally we're getting the riding weather. It's nice. It's been a while. Yeah, man, the winter time really sucks for me. I've always dealt with like anxiety and depression. Well, in my adult life, not really as a kid, but my adult life, especially these past couple years. And wintertime really gets me depressed because I'm inside, cooped up, can't get out. And when I go out and I ride these things, you know, it is such a great, you know, it's good for my mind, you know, good for my mental health to be able to come out and ride my bikes. But the thing is though, is I hate cold weather, and then, you know, during the wintertime, not only is it cold, then you get just rainy or snow or wind. And so now we're finally getting this break. I'm able to finally get out. And you know, it's the riding part is only part of it. The riding part is only part of it. It's just like, you feel so much more free compared to like a car. You know, it's just a lot more enjoyable. And so yeah, like, and you know, I get this bike and then it's in the shop for, you know, a couple of weeks, and that didn't help my mental state very much. You know, I sold my beloved Orlock e-bike to somebody that, you know, I would say probably will get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I mean, I sold it to him, and within a day he was like doing all kinds of custom mods to it. So he's made it look really nice and has made it his own, you know. But and I had the red bike, but even with those bikes, it's like, I mean, it's riding in crappy weather, man, is just not fun. You know, you're fearing for your life more than you are, well, not when it's just cold and windy. Although last week I was riding my Frankenstein Janzo bike, and it was a pretty windy day, and big gust of wind came along, almost knocked me off the bike. The wind was so strong. So it was really nice to be able to get out and maybe not ride a lot, but at least get out and do some riding. Hello. It was just nice to get out and do some sort of riding, you know? Even though, like, Thursday and Friday, the weather's supposed to be pretty shitty. But the weekend is supposed to be pretty decent. It's actually supposed to be warmer on the weekend. So that'd be nice to be able to get out and over the weekend do some riding, you know. I think I really need to get like a decent set of mirrors for this, but I've just not have been able to get a set of mirrors that really work very well. I had bought some mirrors to go on the end of the handlebars, but they're tried to put them on with one piece that you put in there to expand so it'll sit in the handlebar. Broke. So I mean, these mirrors are okay that I have on here. I just wish I had something nicer or something a little bit better. And just in case y'all are wondering, I'm riding through this is a neighborhood in Laytonsville. Some nice houses back here. That's pretty cool. Look at that. A little extravagant. Bit much in this day and age, but each his own. It's your house, right? That looks nice. Being able to that pond back there. That looks really relaxing. Oh, that's the golf course. I can't remember what golf course that is. Laytonsville Golf? No, that would be. That is probably. I can't think of the name of the golf course now. It's right near the brewery up there. Or you pass it before you get to the brewery. I can't think of the name of that golf course though. This is pretty nice neighborhood back here. These are rich people houses though. We'll go up this road. I think this takes us back over to where I need to go. I think. Not 100% sure. Yeah, man, I can't wait for consistent warm weather. Now, maybe the winter would have been a little bit better for me if I had this bike throughout the winter and maybe had gotten whatever was wrong with it repaired sooner. And I would have gotten more ride time in, but yeah, I don't do good in the winter time. So, and you know, part of the riding thing for me, not only just being outside, you know, just like looking at everything and seeing everything, you know, you become so much more aware of your surroundings. You know, what's around you. You know, and I guess it's mainly because you're so, you know, exposed, you know, to everything that you just see so much more. And then plus, you know, I got this camera on here, and so part of that thing of why I like riding is you know, making these videos so I can go back and kind of relive the moment. And you know, like my cow video, where the cow like kind of runs with me. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that, but the camera did. And part of the riding experience is, for me, is then going back and just looking at the videos and, you know, seeing if maybe I can make a YouTube video out of it, or short, or even just watching it and reliving it, you know. So when I can't do that kind of thing, you know, it really gets to me after a while. And so even though it's not like 80 degrees out here, sunny and warm, it still really helps my mental state. Alright, now I gotta figure out how to get out of this neighborhood. Yeah, I think I'm going the right way now. Because I rode down this street last summer, and I remember these houses. But yeah, you know, I'm sure a lot of people that ride motorcycles or, like, you know, e-bikes, they probably for the most part feel the exact same way as I do, you know, with riding. You know, it's a great stress reliever, and it's really good for the mind. Just like walking, you know, like, you know, some people go for long walks, which I do that as well. Like when it's cold and windy and whatnot, and I don't want to freeze my ass off riding the bike, then I'll go for walks around my neighborhood just to get outside. And I gotta clean the front brakes on this. A little squeaky. Alright, now hopefully I got my mirrors positioned right. You know, you sit on these things, you adjust your mirrors, and you think you got it set all right, and then you go riding, and you don't. But I truly have become an Onyx fanboy, that is for damn sure. Even just for the few times of me riding this bike, you know, and I've always liked these bikes, you know, but like the guys that owned them, they would never let me ride them because they felt like I wasn't going to be experienced enough to be able to handle it. But, you know, I never owned a motorcycle, but I did ride them back at, like, when I was younger. So I knew how to ride motorcycles. Although, you know, years ago, so a little rusty. But, you know, riding these things, I mean, the biggest thing, I mean, you're not dealing with a clutch, you know, gear shifting. But the biggest thing with these, like this Onyx, is the acceleration, and that's what you know, gets a lot of people. You know, they can't deal with the acceleration. And I could lane split here, but I'm not gonna bother. Because I could lane split all the way up there. I just don't like doing it next to the curb. Yeah, look to the right here and you see this old Hearst in the window. It's pretty cool looking. I think I'm gonna go straight, and then go down that country road because I like riding down that country road. And it's nice to be able to have a bike like this and be able to go on this road and be able to keep up with this traffic. You know, I was never 100% comfortable with the Warlock when I had it and trying to ride in traffic. The other advantage about like taking this route is that one stretch of 108 I was riding on. You know, it's pretty straight and flat. God, doesn't that look pretty out there? Ooh, that looks so pretty. All that green. And see, this is what it's all about, you know? I mean, this is really pretty back here, you know? It's all farmland. It's upper Montgomery County, known for its farmland. See if we can get a good view of this field. Ride past the cows, see how the cows are doing. Of course, you know, they're all beef cows. So, you know, it's not like they're gonna lead like a nice, peaceful, quiet life. You know. Well, I mean, they will. They do take really good care of the cows. You know, they're out in a field. You know, instead of cooped up in a barn being fed just cornmeal. So at least it's a little bit more humane. Yeah, see, it's not as green up here, but that's because it's a cornfield. Yeah, it's not as green up here. I got an itch. Yeah, it's just so nice to be able to get out and ride again. I was like really feeling down, you know, just not be able to get outside, and you know, not having a job doesn't help matters much either as far as my mental state. But you know, I manage, I do the best I can. You know, I have a great supporting wife and son who are always there for me. And I mean always. But still, it's nice to be able to get out like this. And just come to a spot like this and just stop and look, you know, and see the ugly angels flying. That's the turkey vultures. I call them the ugly angels because they look like angels flying in the sky, and they, you know, serve a very important purpose. So it's just nice to, so beautiful out here. Yeah, I would encourage anybody that could ride a bicycle to go out and get something like this and, you know, enjoy some riding. It's just great for the mind. The only thing is when it's chilly like this, your nose runs. And if you wear glasses, your glasses can fog up if you don't wear the right kind of stuff. And of course, I don't have any tissues with me. I had grabbed some and then I forgot them. Smart, huh? But putting on this mask, even though it's not like a motorcycle mask, at least it's keeping my face covered and my nose and my mouth warm. So, because I prefer wearing these old school kind of helmets. I just like the way they fit. I just like them so much more. But man, look at it. It's so peaceful out here, you know? It's so quiet. Now let's continue on. Alright. Mirrors still seem to be okay. Zipper up my jacket. Sure all the zippers are closed. Keys fall out or something. That's something I gotta do here. I contemplated today of like, should I get out there and mow my front backyard since we're gonna get rain for the next couple of days? And I was like, nah, screw that. I gotta get out on this bike. Yes, the grass will be a little bit longer and more of a pain in the butt to mow, but I couldn't really pass up the chance to get out and do some riding today. Those must be the bulls. Well, maybe not. One of them looks like a bull. The other one doesn't. So that means they're probably trying to get them to hook up. Yeah, because here's the... I knew it was getting drafty up in my jacket. I was like, where's all this wind coming from? It's coming up the sleeves.